Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lancescurv. I'm so glad to be alive. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad to be fulfilling my destiny and my mission on this earth while we are here. It's a pleasure to spend time with you as always. Even though most are not here yet, I'm going to start out. But I want to just say that why I'm speaking about Julius Malema this morning is because a few clips were sent to me this morning, and they were just, as always, so full of truth. And it made me think a little beyond what he said in South Africa and the motherland Africa, which is truly named IMPARTIAL. How many of the others will come into your space and claim your space as theirs, as though you weren't there already. I don't understand that. And it happens with them all over the planet. And I'm kind of sick of it. And it must be spoken on. Malema was speaking on it in his case, what he deals with there in South Africa. And I'm going to say it overall because it happened here in America and it continues to happen here in the United States, which I am in West Africa, Ghana, living with citizenship right now. But no matter where I go, that is the experience, that you can't have your own space, that they have the right to come and take it over. And as you can see in this banner behind me on the left-hand side, my head overlaps it, but it says Stop Apartheid 2.0. Could you imagine that? Stop Apartheid 2.0. Okay. Who started apartheid? You didn't come into your land hundreds of years ago. This was not your land. The indigenous people were already there, which are Black Africans, right? Now, because of Julius Malema's stand against this mentality and sense of entitlement by others, many people, especially the Western media, have taken it upon themselves to demonize this man and say that he is racist. He is not. He has said it out of his mouth that he doesn't hate white people. But when they come there from other countries into South Africa, they are visitors. Imagine I was to come to your home and mention that or act as though I belong there. I can start coming and taking whatever I want, lay up on the couch, watch TV, eat your food up, drive your car, and get the benefits of you who worked so hard to attain what you have. Isn't that something? So this is not just South Africa, but this is worldwide. Now I can get into the name calling and I can say, but let's put it this way. You have a body, you have a human body. It's working just fine. And all of a sudden you begin to feel sick. You begin to feel not yourself. And you go to the doctor and you realize, and oftentimes you don't have to go to the doctor for this, but you realize you have a virus. You have a parasite. And that parasite virus feeds off of the resources of your body for themselves, but they don't belong there. Now, where do they belong? You see, for people to tell you where to go back to Africa. And those Africans who are in Africa don't want to see you because you've made it so corrupt. But when a person like me goes back to Africa, as is my bloodline, through my Jamaican father and his connection to Ghana, right? A lot of people don't want to hear that. Don't heckle me about FBA on that, right? That's my bloodline. Don't get mad at it. But all of a sudden, we're wrong for standing up for ourselves. So I'm going to play a clip, a couple minutes out of a clip that I want you to hear. And I think it's important that we get this news out.
During evidence in chief, Mr. Roots testified about speeches that you give, in which you describe white people as visitors in South Africa. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Now, how do you reconcile this constitutional notion that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, and that white people are visitors in South Africa?
You arrived here as settlers in 1652. It's a historical fact. And you were using South Africa as a refreshment station. You were not here to settle. You were passing. Because of our Africanness and the spirit of Ubuntu, we have embraced you and we have shared our land with you. And we have accepted that you have naturalized in this country. But it doesn't change the fact that you came here as a visitor.
So let me ask you that, let's clarify that.
Yes.
Do you accept that there are many people in South Africa, black and white, Indian colored, Chinese, who came to South Africa from another country at some point?
And not blacks. Not blacks. We came from a country called Africa.
Huh? I understand. So in other words, the claim is anyone who is on the continent of Africa belongs in South Africa, is that correct? Or is not a visitor?
No. South Africa is Africa. We are one country called Africa. This South Africa you're talking about was imposed on us. So we didn't come from anywhere. Speak for yourself. We didn't come from anywhere. There's no African who came from anywhere. We came from here. I mean, my Lord, I cannot come from the second bedroom in this house, and then I find you in another bedroom in the same house, and then you say I came from somewhere. In the same house. I didn't come from somewhere. I was sleeping on the other side. Why, here.
That's the case all over the world. We were already there. So how can you tell? Okay, hold on one moment. Let's just knock this music out. That's not the part we want to hear. That's not our culture. But how can you impose yourself this way and then turn it around like a Jedi mind trick? This is what they do. When they came to America, it was fully populated. So you discovered this place? You discovered America? Really? So how about if I come over your house and discover your house and take it over myself? It's not right. It ain't happening. You know what I mean? But this is the fight that we have all over the world. It's not just in one isolated place, but never trust the media, you know? Because as far as Julius Malema is concerned, the world often fears a voice that tells the truth, especially when that voice comes from a black man who stands up straight, looks you in the eye, and demands justice for his people. Julius Malema is that voice in South Africa, as there are others worldwide where the same thing is happening. But instead of listening, the Western media has chosen to attack, distort, and demonize him. They do all of us that way. They tell the world he is a dangerous man, a racist, a hate-filled radical. But the truth is much deeper. Malema does not hate anyone. He simply refuses to love lies. He was born into the soil of South Africa. Julius Malema has witnessed firsthand what injustice looks like. He grew up in a land where the wealth of the nation sits in the hands of the few, while the rightful owners, the black majority, are left to struggle on the edges of survival. And when he speaks about land reform, about ownership, about restoring what was stolen, he is not preaching hate. He is demanding fairness. He is doing what any leader should do, protect the dignity and future of his people. The smear campaigns, launched against him are not new. We have seen this playbook before. Any black leader who calls for true independence and self-determination becomes an enemy in the eyes of those who benefit from our oppression. From Patrice Lumumba to Thomas Sankara and now Julius Malema, the pattern is clear. The world calls them dangerous, not because they are wrong, but because they are right. Because they tell the colonizer that their time is up. The Afrikaners who now seek asylum in America, who were welcomed by figures like Donald Trump, do so without acknowledging how they got their foothold in South Africa in the first place. Their forerunners arrived not as friends, not as equals, but as conquerors. They took the land, they drew the lines, and they built their wealth on the backs of African people. That is not opinion. That is history, and Julius Malema dares to speak it. Malema reminds us that no other people can go into another land, take what they want, and declare themselves the owners. Africans cannot do that in Europe or in America or anywhere else. But somehow the world looks the other way when it comes to Africa. Somehow the rules do not apply when the victims are black. And Malema, standing firm on the ground his ancestors walked, is telling the world those days are over. Africa is not up for grabs. It is not a buffet for outsiders to come and pick from while the children of the soil go hungry. What is happening in South Africa is not hatred, it is justice being reborn. It is long overdue conversations finally being had. Julius Malema is not calling for violence, he's calling for balance. He is not chasing people out, he's reclaiming what belongs to his people. The discomfort that others feel is not because Malema is unjust. It's because justice feels like punishment to those who have lived in luxury for too long. They want the world to see him as a threat so they can hold on to what was never theirs to begin with. But we will not be fooled, not again. We know what propaganda smells like, and we will not inhale it because truthfully, it straight stinks. Across the continent, Africa is waking up. The lies of colonialism are cracking. The borders they drew are being questioned. The fake stories they sold us about who we are and what we deserve are being thrown away. Julius Malema is just one voice in a growing choir of truth. And whether the world listens or not, that truth is not going away. It's not just about South Africa's struggle. It is Africa's struggle, right? Not just South Africa, but all of Africa, right? That's why we need one united Africa. It is about reclaiming our resources, our identities, and our future. It is about telling the world that we will no longer sit quietly while others steal from our table and call us beggars. We are not poor, we were robbed. We are not violent, we are provoked. And we are not defeated, we are rising. So let these words stand as a beginning, a truth-telling moment, a line in the sand. Julius Malema is not the enemy, he's the mirror. And if the world does not like what it sees, then perhaps it's time for the world to change, not him. That's what I have to say about this. And those are some of my thoughts from this morning. And I want to play another clip so we can cement this truth in, so you can hear another side of the story other than the propaganda that the Western media and all Caucasian media puts out there about us.
Our fellow African brothers and sisters from our continent, the richest continent in the world and the most beautiful and most diverse continent in the world. We are here today to salute the fighting spirit of revolutionaries who resisted colonialism and subjugation of the black majority. We therefore are here to salute all liberation heroes and heroines, the kings and the queens who resisted colonial invasion, and the freedom fighters who refused to bow to the colonial master. We are here to salute Haile Selassie, Julius Nyerere, Kwame Nkrumah, Kaunda, Patrice Lumumba, Amilcar Cabral, Thomas Sankara, Nelson Mandela, Steve Biko, and all those who made us proud by resisting colonialism and imperialism. Africa Day is a celebration and recognition of Pan-Africanism. This day, it's a day where we celebrate ourselves. This day, it's a day where we tell the whole world and those who care to listen that we are Africans and we are proud. We are not ashamed of being Africans. We are not ashamed of being black. We kill one another today because we don't know who we are. We call people Zimbabweans. We call people Malawians. We call people who come from Makwerekwe, whereas we are Makwerekwe ourselves because we come from where those people come from. None of us come from here. We came from the north and found the Khoi and the San here in Southern Africa, and we settled here. The Khoi and the San welcomed us here. So we should welcome others as well, the same way we were welcomed here. Know your history. You will appreciate our fellow brothers and sisters from Africa. Let us celebrate Pan-Africanists like Julius Nyerere. Those are the people we should know their history. Those are the people who welcomed the ANC and the PAC in exile in Tanzania, made it possible for them to train and come back to fight against the nonsensical murderous apartheid regime. Today, when we see people from Tanzania, we see enemies. We see people who threaten us because we don't know the history of Africa, that it was people like Julius Nyerere who hosted us, who received us when it was difficult in South Africa during the times of apartheid. You will never appreciate Tanzania. You will never know the role that Tanzania played in our struggle. You will never know the role Julius Nyerere played in the revolution, because those who write our history, they distort it to suit the white man.
There you go. Those who write the history distort it to serve the white man. And that's the way it is across the board, unfortunately, but we have to see past that. Constantly, when I put stories out, write things, Patrick Gilbert, welcome on in. Glad to see you here. Yes, the Malt Network and Sister Queen Diane, welcome you on in. But we have those who are so brainwashed amongst us. It's a tough battle to speak out in truth, because we have people who look like us who fight against us, but they wouldn't dare fight their colonial master. They won't dare go against the person who they have to run to punch that clock to make their money. They bow down to them, but they form their organizations and come against us who really want unity. See, those are the people who look like us, who worship their master. Because to speak like we do goes against that psychological bit of chains around their mind. They're afraid to break away because they're waiting for a few pennies from the master instead of straight taking it. Now, let me clarify. Reparations are owed. But it's just like when you loan money to a person who you know is not going to pay it back. After a while, you write it off. But in this case, we didn't loan those who came and invaded America, right? We didn't loan it. They took it. They took it. So they will empower those who continue the argument of divisiveness, who get emotional. They'll come into your comment section and write total books, try to attack you personally, because you're living the way that they know, not that they have to live exactly as you do, but they will never, ever open their mouth to their slave master while they sit at his feet begging for the crumbs. If a land is yours, you take it back, correct? If somebody steals something of yours, you take it back. If I have property, if I have land, if I have anything that is mine, which understood, we're all passing through. We're all passing through. But as the law stands, the man-made law, as we're here, if anybody takes anything from you, you have the right to take it back. Antonio Carter, thank you for being here. And so many of us wait for those people who are the planetary viruses to wake up one morning and have a fair heart, a loving demeanor, one who woke up in righteousness and said, you know, all that I've done is wrong, and we have to make sure not only to restore and repair, but to compensate. I'm 62 years old, and I've been hearing about this for the longest time. Single-digit ages when I can comprehend what my parents were talking about with their friends in our living room. And ain't nothing happened yet. So what you gonna do? Well, if they seem to have the tanks and the missiles and the bombs and the guns, and you're afraid of that, well, why don't you just walk away? Why don't you just leave? Now, you don't have to leave America if you don't want to leave. People have special needs, children, elderly parents who can't travel. It would be upsetting to leave the shock. It would be a shock for some. But why don't you form your own concretely in America and worldwide? Why can't we unite with each other? You see, I have a brother, a blood brother, living in America. We haven't spoken for many, many years because of his addictions. But to say as an example, is he not still my brother? Even if he lives in New York City and I live in close by to Accra, Ghana, are we not still related? Is he not my brother? So the twisted history that many were fed, and the fact that many have completely digested the lies that everything in Africa is bad. Everything in Africa is ugly. Everything in Africa is poor. But I'm quite sure you've heard it many times in different ways. They robbed and raped Africa and wear the wealth of Africa on their limbs. They live the luxuries that come from Africa because of the resources, and turn around and say how poor it is, while we have some fools worldwide that are up under them. And I can only speak for America and those who attack me in the comments section with their little lies. The fool believes them. They believe them because that colonizer and oppressor has become their God. So you have to attack me and others who speak like me. You have to, because you don't want to acknowledge your connection to even being African. Everything comes out of this place. And we are the original people. And I'm not going to argue with anybody on facts that are not really documented. Things are proven by statues, but the whole world is Africa. So where you going to run to when you realize that? But you don't want to be who you are. So you are an African in drag. You ain't no different than a dude whose equipment is hanging down to his knee, but he got lipstick, makeup, a wig, a dress, and high heels sashaying down the street. You're a cross-dresser on a racial level, and you don't want anybody else to wake up in their hetero proper way. See, I'm combining the two. Anybody who's mixed up, anybody who's tormented, hates to see someone who has peace of mind and living in their natural balance. Ain't that something? So they will use social media to confuse the masses because most of these fools have never picked up a book. They've never studied the true history. They only study what they were allowed to absorb and digest in the public school system. So because their master told them in their books, this is what it is, they never had an opportunity to independently absorb the full picture. Excuse me. So they reject it because they feel as though they have to get back to the end of the line and relearn everything over again, which is really what they have to do. Most of them have never traveled. And even if you don't travel, it doesn't mean you can't know the truth. You just have to take your mindset away from the poison that they're giving to you and how they mold your mind and flavor your thoughts. And you become the attack dogs for people who really don't even like you, really don't even love you. They can act as though they smile, but if you look closer, it's nothing more than a grimace because they despise you. All your life, you live under this. All your life, you have to deal with this. And in your delusion, you have made sense of it to yourself. So the very one who has the same blood running through their veins, you want to attack them because they live on a different land. They live on a different state. They have a different mindset, which is more advanced. I've never seen anything like it. It's sad. Yeah. Yeah, like the Malt Network says. I remember those Sally Struthers propaganda commercials growing up. Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be short. I'm going to actually put the link out there just in case anybody wants to say anything. I'll wait around for a minute or two and I will come back later on. I'll be here all day and I will come back with something. I just have a few things that I have to do today, get those things done and come right on back. But if you want to say anything, click the link and come on and say. You disagree? This is not even a right or wrong thing. We all know what's right now. The covers are being pulled off. Seriously. So we have to separate ourselves from those who want to wallow in ignorance. You know, those who want to make videos about you and all of this stuff and their lives are all wrecked up. Nah, we don't need to go fighting each other. Let's just lead the way for those of us who are enlightened and not get into the fight with those who are ignorant and who are the worshipers of white supremacy. Because that's the bottom line. Some are afraid to leave the plantation. And I don't mean physically, if you don't want to, but mentally at least know what's going on and know how you've been poisoned. So when a person is delusional, how can you argue with them? When a person is seeing hallucinations, how can you reason with them? Because they're not in their right mind. Not in their right mind. You're welcome to Malt Network. Yes. And I'm looking for more to speak about because these are conversations that we need to have. But anyway, nobody came in. It's okay. It's cool. I'll be back. Can't say exactly when, but in a couple of hours because I'm home and I'm doing some chores and cleaning and washing and preparing some things and everything. So I'm here and my mind will definitely be wandering around as to what we can speak about when we have our next episode. But thank you very much. I'll be back later. Lancescurv out. Much love to you. Peace.